Ting-Lu was one of the most commonly seen Pokemon in Regulation C of Scarlet and Violet VGC. But after Landorus was dropped on us like a nuclear warhead, Ting-Lu's viability practically disintegrated. However, with Wolfie's favorite Pokemon pushing Landoti back out of the format in favor of its incarnate form, Ting-Lu has been reintroducing himself to the format. I figured this would be an excellent time to mess around with an old team and see how it does in a more diverse format. For size spam enthusiasts, Reg C brought about a dark, no pun intended, time. The only non-restricted legendary Pokemon in the base game were added into the mix, and all of them share a very frustrating type that stopped most size spam players in their tracks, including myself. Instead, I wanted to try and emulate the type of Trick Room I played in Sword and Shield, which was Mimikyu x Calyrex. Activating Weakness Policy via Mimikyu's Shadow Sneak was something I really enjoyed, and it allowed Calyrex to start the battle with absurd momentum. With size spam out of the mix for the time being, I decided to try to make something similar work in Regulation C. I opted for a Ghost Terra Ting-Lu with Weakness Policy, given Ting-Lu's incredibly high natural bulk and massive damage output potential after a free Swords Dance. Mimikyu was also a very valuable Trick Room setter with its Disguise ability. Over the course of the format, I tried different combinations of things to support this core, unfortunately having to drop Mimikyu. Ironically, the final build reintroduced size spam into the mix because I just love Armarouge so much. Shortly after I had settled on this build and topped Cart Ladder, some local VGC players I'd been getting together with monthly had asked if I'd like to join them for my first sanctioned event, a PC a short drive away in Montreal. I figured it would be a great opportunity to get valuable experience, as I had been planning to begin competing the following season. I went in with zero expectations and I just wanted to see how it went. In the end, I actually managed to pull a top cut and take the whole thing to first place. While I won't be going over the tournament itself in this video, I have linked the tournament report in the description below. Ting-Lu was the main staple of the team, and was the idea that brought everything together. I wanted a Pokemon with a hard-hitting physical spread move that could survive multiple ways to self-activate a weakness policy, to emulate how I ran Calyrex in Sword and Shield. In the end though, I decided not to focus on the self-proc and instead lean into Ting-Lu's bulk to simply eat a super effective hit and live. Against Fluttermane and Iron Hands, Ting-Lu could quite consistently survive at least one hit while Bronzong sets up Trick Room. And with Poison Terra, we could ensure Ting-Lu could survive being doubled up on by the likes of Flutter and Chi-Yu. Ting-Lu hit hard enough regardless that activating Weakness Policy was not always crucial to win, but could be done with Armarouge's Energy Ball, Bronzong's Body Press, or Iron Hand's Drain Punch if wanting to accept the risk of taking more damage. Waterfall from Gyarados is not advisable in this situation. For move selection, Earthquake was preferable to Stomping Tantrum since we wanted to be able to dish out the maximum stab spread, and was why having Gyarados as our Intimidate Mon was so crucial to the team. Without Rillaboom in the format to ruin our fun with grassy terrain, Earthquake was safe to spam, especially with all the Iron Hands around at the time. Rock Slide was our secondary spread option for flinch spam under Trick Room, and taking out Talonflames, Dragonites, and opposing Gyarados. Heavy Slam rounded out our coverage, as Dark Stab was not super necessary, and allowed us a more powerful answer to bulky Fluttermanes. Bronzong filled a great deal of roles on this team, and is one of the pieces I look back at with the most fondness. Having an Iron Defense setup Pokemon was very strong in a format filled with Powonite, Garchomp, and Mouseape. Bronzong also acted as my Trick Room setter of choice when I was opting to lean harder into Ting-Lu from right out of the gate. Bronzong was able to function as all three of Setup Sweeper, Trick Room setter, and even a small support role. Like in any other format where it's legal, Amoonguss created headaches for Trick Room players in Regulation C, so in order to have a perfect answer for it, I opted to cut Gyro Ball for Safeguard to round out Bronzong's moveset. Against Amoonguss and Brute Bond leads that hope to spore Bronzong, I would lead the Blue Bell next to Iron Hands, and lead with Fake Out and Safeguard to ensure we remain spore-proof. Covert Cloak was necessary in a format filled to the brim with Iron Hands, as I could not rely on the Psychic terrain with Levitate. Fire Terra covers Bronzong's base Steel Psychic typing very nicely, and allowed me to survive hazardous fire attacks from the like of Chi-Yu and Arcanine. Fire Terra also allowed me to shed Bronzong's Ghost weakness in front of Fluttermane, while maintaining the fairy resistance of the base Steel typing. Gyarados was my weird aggro support tech that also functioned as a Mirror Breaker and anti-Amoonguss tool. In a weird way, it was doing its best Incineroar impression. Like most Trick Room teams, we had to have answers for the tech meant to stop us, such as Spore or Imprison. Since Farigiraf wasn't a terribly uncommon Imprison user, it was easy to outspeed it with the speed stat of 102 that our Gyarados sits at. Having safety goggles and taunt lets the big fish switch into and disable Amoonguss while Ting-Lu protects itself from Spore. Thunder Wave let us cripple opposing threats such as Fluttermane and Chi-Yu on the last couple turns of Trick Room, so that we could continue to outspeed them after. Steel Terra was to prevent Bundle from ripping Gyarados apart with Freeze Dry, and Iron Head made a good secondary attack option, especially with the Steel Terra. Because this Iron Hands wasn't always getting the Fake Out, I positioned it more as a multi-tool rather than a typical all-out offense clear amulet or high bulk assault vest variant. I went with Booster Energy, so when Hands is led with Bronzong or comes out after Trick Room is up, we get the most damage possible in the hits Iron Hands does get to land safely. Booster Energy on a mixed offense and bulk spread allowed me to maintain a large degree of the bulk Assault Vest sets had, while also hitting harder than they would. With a Brave Nature and 124 attack EVs, Iron Hands will always get the attack boost from Quark Drive even after an Intimidate drop. Armarouge was run in a way that was pretty consistent from Regulations A to E, with Expanding Force, Armor Cannon, and Trick Room all being staple moves. The last move slot was usually taken by a coverage move or wide guard, depending on the needs of the rest of your team. I went with Energy Ball to help ward off opposing Ting-Lus, as we can at least 2-hit KO most variants after a Grass Terra. Energy Ball also helped put certain other problem Pokemon into more favorable positions. Matt Tidd ran Slowbro with a Fire Terra at the Premier Challenge I won with this team, and threatening to outspeed an Energy Ball, baited him into Terra on a turn I actually then used Expanding Force. This gave me my win in the semifinals of Top Cut. At the time, and still now if not running Meteor Beam, Life Orb is Armarouge's best item by a country mile. Not being so bulky that 10% HP is a major waste, Armarouge takes advantage of the practically free damage boost quite handily. Indeedee ran a set that is now considered to be mostly stock in every format. Trick Room, Helping Hand, and Follow Me are the staple moves that all hard Trick Room Indeedees should be running. Being able to set up Trick Room while the partner sets up or attacks can be incredibly valuable if your opponent doesn't have a way to threaten you. Follow Me helps to give you a more guaranteed Trick Room by letting Indeedee sponge all single target attacks, or if you prefer, you can position her to go down this turn for a free switch into your Iron Hands or Gyarados. Helping Hand helps when you then get the most out of your spread damage during Trick Room turns. Dazzling Gleam is also generally the most common 4th move on Indeedee, but Skill Swap was a considerable option to this team to deal with problem abilities like Levitate and Unaware, and is still very considerable on Indeedee today. Psychic Seed versus Rocky Helmet is a common debate regarding Indeedee, but in this format, Specs Chi-Yu was very, very common, and being able to survive the hits is important. Fairy Terra is always generally a safe play on Indeedee, and it was extra good in this Dark and Dragon heavy format. So that's the team. With all that out of the way, I'd love to show you how it performs on the ladder. If you like the channel and you like my content, please don't forget to drop a sub. At this point I'm nearing 500, which is an incredible milestone for me. Okay, so we've got a Sun team with all 3 of the Paradox Beasts, Incineroar, and Whimsicott. So I'm guessing that the Whimsicott also has Sunny Day, so they can go for the manual Sun, and we got the Drought from the Torkoal, so they can sort of pick what they want to do here. Incineroar is always a good Pokemon, and it synergizes well with its being Fire type. Now this team doesn't really seem like it likes Ting-Lu very much. It dampens the special attack damage of the 2 special attackers in Torkoal. It can hit almost everything on that team for super effective damage. And we definitely want to go for the Trick Room, so we'll go for the Bronzong, the Ting-Lu. Gyarados will be good into the Incineroar and Gouging Fire. And Iron Hands rounds us out great. Okay, so he leads with Whimsicott and Gouging Fire. Gouging Fire is definitely threatening Bronzong more than it's threatening Ting-Lu. Whimsicott might have Taunt here, but we won't really know. So we're gonna go for a Trick Room, and we'll Heavy Slam the Whimsicott. The Whimsicott's likely Covert Cloak or Focus Sash, or maybe Mental Herb. But it should go down to Heavy Slam as long as it's not Focus Sash. I can expect a Heat Crash or a Flare Blitz from the Gouging Fire into the Bronzong. Okay, so Protect from Whimsicott. And that means no Taunt. There's the Flare Blitz, so we called that pretty well Hortera. It looks like we would have survived anyway, but better to be safe than sorry. Whimsicott having Protect means it likely doesn't have a Sash, and I think we can safely expect a Burning Bulwark from Entei here. So we're going to self-proc our Weakness Policy with Body Press, and go for that Heavy Slam again. Also, he withdraws. Oh, we got Walking Wing. Okay, that's all fine. We can reasonably expect that this Heavy Slam will OHKO as long as it's not Sash. I mean, especially with the Body Press, proc and Weakness Policy. Okay, so it is Sash, but that's fine, because Whimsicott's not the most threatening thing on this. So we're gonna go for the Body Press, and we're gonna go for an Earthquake. We might survive a Hydro Steam, just because of Vessel of Ruin, but I'm guessing not. But this should take it out. If it takes that much from the Body Press, that's not Stab without any boost, the Earthquake should be enough to take it out. There we go. Yeah, no problem. With the physical attack investment we've got, plus the Weakness Policy boost, this Ting-Lu is a monster. And it really is doing its best Calyrex impression. I'm expecting a Burning Bulwark from that. And it doesn't really matter. We have, what, 2 more turns of Trick Room? Yeah. So we're in Iron Defense, and we're in Earthquake again. Because he's got nothing that's immune to Earthquake, so either the Whimsicott goes down, or whatever he switches into goes down. Now, we still haven't seen the Terra. There's a reasonable chance that this thing is also Grass Terra. There's the Terra. If it's Fairy, we might still take it out. If it's Grass, obviously not. Yeah, okay, that's a little unfortunate. But between Gyarados resisting its main stab and having Thunder Wave, we should be able to keep that thing down even after Trick Room is done. And Bronzong might just be able to take it out with a Body Press. So Whimsicott goes down, and yeah, Gouging Fire doesn't take a whole lot from that. Let's see what you're doing back to me. Double Kick! That's an interesting one. Can't say I've ever seen double. I guess I can kind of understand if he has Howl, and he needs to deal with a Sash Dark type like Chien-Pao or Urshifu. That's funny. I saw a tweet about it today actually about how Gyarados would be perfect if it got Double Kick. Raging Volt should go down to just the Earthquake, if it doesn't have Protect. Gouging Fire is probably going to Burning Bulwark here if it has it. But no, yeah, we'll go for the Iron Defense so that for sure the next Body Press takes it out. So there's no Protect on either side. Raging Bull's gonna go down here. Presumably. Yeah. And that even did a lot more to the end, Gouging Fire than I expected. He goes for the double kick again. And we should have this game in a lock now. I am very doubtful that the Gouging Fire will survive the body press or be able to KO my Pokemon before so he goes for the double kick. He gets to take out the Ting-Lu. I could have protected, but I'll let him have this one. And there we go. Okay, this is an interesting one. I can't really complain about the quality of my opponent's team when I'm running a weakness policy Ting-Lu. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a bit of a Trick Room element to this, because we got the Slowking. Slitherwing can be pretty slow. But if we can position Armarouge where we want, I think it's actually not terrible into this, because we have Expanding Force for Slitherwing, Armor Cannon for Rillaboom, Energy Ball for Slowking. He doesn't really do a whole lot to stop the Trick Room here either. So I think we're going to lead like Armarouge Ting-Lu with Indeedee in the back. And the idea is, depending on the lead my opponent has, we might be able to just go Trick Room uninterrupted and then Energy Ball the Ting-Lu. And then we can switch in Indeedee for like the Size Fan Trick Room mode if we have to. And I think against the rest of this, I don't see a problem with Gyarados. We got Intimidate for the Rillaboom, and then Water Damage for the Skeledirge. Maybe even Taunt for the Tornadus if it's helpful. So let's try this. Alright, Miss Jada Lee, let's see what you've got. Okay, so they led with the Tornadus, and that's a big Slitherwing. Or maybe they're just all that big. I haven't actually seen it in game that much. Now, the Tornadus kind of makes me feel like there's a taunt, but we could also have a really good start if we can get the Trick Room off, and if Ting-Lu survives an unexpected close combat. So I think we're just going to go for Trick Room Rock Slide here. Because you don't really see Taunt on the Tornadus that much these days. Between Farigiraf and Indeedee, it's pretty disincentivized to run Taunt on Tornadus. And if we're wrong because of the, like if he gets the Prankster Taunt, I don't think we fall behind that badly. We'll have to see. Okay, so there's a Tailwind. That means the Trick Room is going to go off no problem. Wild Charge on the Slitherwing and Armarouge. This is exactly what we wanted to see. So you get a bit of Rock Slide damage from Ting-Lu, Trick Room from Armarouge, and what we can do now, that my opponent's much less likely to be expecting, is we're going to Energy Ball into our Ting-Lu. We're going to get the Weakness Policy proc, and we're going to go for another Rock Slide. Now, Armarouge doesn't have Stab on Energy Ball without Terra, and the Vessel of Ruin on Ting-Lu, I always forgot the ability name. It's like, Vessel of Ruin, Sword of Ruin. I always forget which one is which. Except for Chien-Pao, it's obviously Sword of Ruin. With Vessel of Ruin, Energy Ball is not going to do a whole lot to Ting-Lu. I'm guessing maybe in the 30-ish% range. So we're going to eat that, get the Weakness Policy proc. Tornadus should go down there. Slitherwing, I'm not sure. But, oh, so we got the Withdraw. And it is a Slowking. Okay. Alright, Armarouge doesn't outspeed the Ting-Lu. What am I thinking? I don't know why I thought Armarouge would go first, but that's still fine. Now, Slowking is a slow Pokemon, but the Tailwind might actually make it not outspeed us. And I'm guessing we're gonna have like the Bleak Windstorm, yeah. Armarouge weakening, Ting-Lu weakening the special attack is also relevant there, because we took less from the Bleak Windstorm. Now, with the switch into Slowking, now I want to go for the Grass Terra Energy Ball, and we'll go for another Rock Slide. I'm nearly certain the Slowking cannot outspeed Ting-Lu under the Tailwind. I'm not as sure about Armarouge. Armarouge is min speed, so it's 72. I don't know what Slowking's speed would be here. Okay, so there's just a withdraw. That's fine. And the Slitherwing comes back. Okay. So now let's see what the speed on the Slowking is. If its speed is 36, it's a speed tie. If it's less than 36, it'll outspeed us. Okay, this is a berry on the Slitherwing. That's pretty bulky. It's bulkier than I expected. And we do outspeed the Slowking, so we get the Energy Ball. And the Slowking goes down. So, depending on what comes out next, we might actually switch out the Ting-Lu, even though it's +2 on the attack. Because if he sends out Tornadus, it might be a okay, Skeledirge. We have 2 more turns of Trick Room. So, I feel like at worst my opponent's just going to Protect. So, we're going to Expanding Force in the Slitherwing slot. And actually I want an Earthquake here. We probably sacrifice Armarouge, but it'll deal the most damage to the Skeledirge. And our Gyarados will be in a really good position against the rest of these Pokemon after. If she switches to Tornadus from either of these, it might be an issue. Preferably the Slitherwing would switch out, though. Okay, so there's a Terra. What's the Terra? Skeledirge is going for the Terra... Normal. I'm guessing it has Hyper Voice with Throat Spray, then? Not quite sure what else it could be. Yeah, Armarouge didn't survive that. And the Terra is definitely unfortunate from the Skeledirge. Bulky, too. So this is a little bit of a setback. But I'm going to operate on the idea that... Okay, Snarl. So you just tear it out of the weakness. That makes sense. And there's the Throat Spray. And a Bulk Up from the Slitherwing. So there is one more turn of Trick Room, I believe. Unless I'm mistaken. No, there is. So we can definitely go for Indeedee here. And just Helping Hand Rock Slide. Or actually... I don't know Skeledirge's speed. No, he wouldn't be min speed if he was playing with Tailwind. So yeah, Helping Hand Rock Slide, we should outspeed. I don't know if we KO the Skeledirge. Slitherwing should go down for sure. And if he switches something into Tornadus, that'll go down for sure. I feel relatively comfortable right now. Oh, there's the miss. That's unfortunate. These things happen. It being Skeletors is very slightly better. Skeletors use Snarl again, and it's really not doing a whole lot. I'm a little confused. Maybe she was expecting Indeedee to attack, but even so. So Indeedee is +1 special defense from Psychic Seed. I'm guessing Tornadus' only attack is Weak Windstorm. I believe we're pretty much in the clear if we go Trick Room and Protect. Because unless they can double into Indeedee and kill it, there's not really a whole lot they can do to stop this. But like, I think there needs to be a crit necessary because of the Psychic Seed. So my opponent's going for the Tailwind again. Really not sure. Perhaps they're expecting some sort of secret fast mode and wanted to still ensure that they outspeed. But I believe if the Follow Me Rock Slide, actually Helping Hand Rock Slide should do it. Because then we're in a spot where even if Ting-Lu goes down this turn, we have the Indeedee and we have the Gyarados, and then there's nothing really that she can do to stop that. Okay, so there's the Sunny Day. Going for the harder hitting Torch Song, a Torch Song gets to connect. Rock Slide didn't do a whole lot to Skeletors. That thing's pretty bulky, so we can hope for the flinch here, but... Oh! Never punished, I guess. Will Follow Me in case Earthquake doesn't KO, but I'm pretty sure Earthquake cleanly KOs here, and that ends the game in our favor. And that's that. That was an interesting one. I haven't really seen a Skeletor in a very long time. Okay, so we got a Rain team with Iron Fraud, Ogerpon, Pelipper, Archaludon, Whimsicott. This is interesting. I don't know if Whimsicott gets Psychic Terrain, or if this person is trying to rely on my Psychic Terrain. I mean, looking at this team, you can kind of tell I can't bring Armarouge anyway. I think here we can just sort of play what's been becoming the classic. Go Bronzong, Ting-Lu, Gyarados, Iron Hands. The Pelipper will likely have Wide Guard. I'm really not sure what the interaction with Whimsicott is here. Like, it's probably a Tailwind Mon, which means, like, Pelipper won't have Tailwind. But it's rare to see a Whimsicott that's not Terracotta with Terrakion for, like, the beat-up Justified interaction. And having two support Pokemon in Pelipper and Whimsicott isn't super ideal seeming. But I won't knock it until I see what it's all about. I mean, if somebody saw this 6, they'd probably be like, oh, what's this person doing? Ting-Lu from Bronzong and Reg F? Is she crazy? So we know Iron Crown can't do a whole lot to either of these Pokemon, and I believe Ting-Lu is bulky enough to eat one hit from Ogerpon. So I'm going to go for the bold play of just Earthquake Trick Room. Earthquake will hope to pick up some good clean damage onto the Iron Crown, maybe even Oko if we get the weakest policy proc. If that's Terra Water on the Ogerpon, we are likely losing Ting-Lu this turn. but we do get a free switch into Iron Hands. And Iron Hands plus Body Press Bronzong should be able to take care of this. Let's see. Yeah, that's unfortunate. I'm pretty sure we could have lived it if it wasn't for the Terra. So the Terra was admittedly, like, I guess it would have been expected. I could have just protected there. What about the water? It's gonna hurt a little bit. I think we're okay. So we're gonna bring up Brian Hands, and the Pelipper is likely Sash, and there's no Ghost Terra now because he's Terra the Ogre Pawn. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see a Spiky Shield from Ogre Pawn. So we can go for like Iron Defense, and we'll go for Terra Grass and fake out the Pelipper. My opponent might see Iron Hands as the bigger threat and try to like Ivy Cudgel Hands. And Ivy Cudgel will need to crit Bronzong to Oko, I believe, even like with the Rain and the Terra after the +2 defense boost. But it'll be tight. Okay, so no expected Spiky Shield, that's mildly an issue. But I still don't think anything's getting Oko'd this turn. There's the flinch on the Pelipper. Ivy Cudgel from Ogre Pawn into Iron Hands, perhaps? Oh, perfect. That's the better of the options. So, we're gonna Body Press the Ogre Pawn and Wild Charge the Pelipper. See, that's sort of what I expected, so I wanted to make sure that the damage that would guarantee the Oko was going into Pelipper, because Pelipper can Oko Hands from this range with an Assault Vest if it has Hurricane. We still have 2 more turns of Trick Room, or 1 more turn of Trick Room. Yeah, 2 more turns of Trick Room. My opponents used his Terra, so have we. But, okay, so that's an Archaludon. That thing probably doesn't have Protect, so we're gonna Iron Defense, so we can go for the Nero guaranteed Oko next turn, and we're gonna Wild Charge Ogre Pawn. With the Booster Energy boost, this should Oko. And Electroshock from Archaludon, I believe Bronzong should survive 1 because Electroshot is not stab, and Iron Hands after Grass Terra obviously lived 1. It would live 1 without the Terra anyway. I wouldn't also horribly mind if either of these switch into Iron Crown, but yeah, we're fine. We're chilling. Wild Charge should take out the Ochre pretty cleanly. I believe we would have killed it even if we were just like the Assault Vest variant. Like, Oricon doesn't have the craziest physical defense on that build, but with the Booster Energy, we just sort of slaughter it. Okay, so there's the expected Electroshot. I think we can survive 1. I've seen quite a few Archaludon spreads that don't have much special attack investment because of Electroshot. We went into the Iron Hands. Interesting. I suppose he was hoping it was low enough that it would take it out. But now we'll Body Press Archaludon and we'll Drain Punch Iron Crown. Yeah, it has Protect, that's fine. So it has Protect, Volt Switch, and then probably Tachyon Cutter. Maybe not Expanding Force though, based on the fact that we saw Volt Switch. I don't believe that crit mattered at +4. So Trick Room's run out, and yeah, we were +4. I don't think Iron Crown can do anything to us, and I don't even know if it can survive one body press. So we'll just Drain Punch with body press, see what he clicks. So there's a Volt Switch. That's, yeah, really not more than I expected, but got a Drain Punch in from the Iron Hands, and the body press should clean it up. There we go. Nice clean kill on the Iron Fraud. We really don't care for those things around these parts. Okay. So we've got, we've got the Snow Team. We got the TO Snow Team. Shout out to the homie for winning the special event. I don't know. When I was really planning this video, that was before that. This video has been working on. I've been working on this a while, so I don't have a plan. I didn't have a plan in mind for Snow. But aside from, well, I know that if it's a copy paste of the team, we know the Ninetales is Terrifier. So I think Bronzong Iron Hands is a good place to start. And we'll go Ting-Lu, and I think we'll go Armarouge without the Indeedee, because Gyarados doesn't do a whole lot against this team, and we definitely want the fire damage for Articuno or Ninetales if it doesn't Terra. And, like, Energy Ball could be pretty good into Ogerpon if it Terras, and it's a secondary Trick Room setter. Gyarados isn't really doing a whole lot for us here, because it's only 2 physical attackers, so yeah, we'll try this. We do have the small benefit of, if he's using the exact same paste as people have been using, we know what he's running. And looking at my 6, I would be surprised if he could guess that this was like weakness policy Ting-Lu. So we just gotta get... Okay, so there's an Ogerpon and a Raging Bolt. That's a pretty perfect start. I would say the Raging Bolt is slightly more threatening to Bronzong, because Bronzong is a physical tank. So we'll go for the Fake Out there in the Trick Room. So we got the Follow Me. That's fine. We got our Fake Out off. The Follow Me doesn't really do a whole lot, but that's what I mean, right? Like I said, this team would be pretty unexpected. I think it's pretty safe to go Wild Charge into Ogerpon, because if it doesn't tear, it still hits pretty hard. And we'll go Iron Defense for now on Bronzong. Oh, if he's gonna Terra the Iron Hands, or the Ogerpon, that's really good for Iron Hands. That's okay. That's pretty perfect. With the boost from Booster Energy, which we saw in the last game, it should do a nasty amount of damage. So there's the Iron Defense. And what say you, Iron Hands? Are you OHKOing this Ogerpon? Beautiful. Nice and clean. So we waste one of the best Pokemon on my opponent's team, and he's burned his Terra. Heavy Slam should OHKO the Ninetales, just because it can't tear out of the weakness, and even though the Snow boosts its defense, it is a quad weakness. And we're going to go for another... Do we want to go for another Iron Defense? No, we'll go for Body Press now and see how much damage we do. We'll fish for that. So that was just... Because we saw the Snarl, we can probably assume it's the Assault Vest variant. So I'm guessing it's going to be Snarl, Thunderclap, Dragon Pulse, or Draco Meteor, and Thunderbolt, or Electro Web. Body Press deals, okay. A respectable amount of damage. The heavy slam should go here. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, the crit probably didn't matter, but I'll be happy to hear if my opponent's upset about it. And he's going for another Snarl. She's going for another Snarl. Not really sure why. And there's the Articuno. Bronzong can resist all of Articuno's moves. So they were actually ensure the KO on the Raging Bolt this turn. And I'm going to double into that. Ooh, not quite the trigger. Yeah, we'll double into the Raging Bolt this turn and guarantee the kill. And then Articuno is, I suppose, is going to land a Blizzard. I guess that's the correct play, is we go for Blizzard. But yeah, we're not really super scared about that. Yeah, so you didn't do a lot. I mean, yeah, no freezes, nothing. Wild Charge plus Body Press should end this. And yeah, okay, it doesn't do a whole lot. Wild Charge to even the good old Snow Cloak evasion boost. So now we're playing this game. Now the good news is we can Terra Steel the Gyarados to get pretty far away from this weakness. And you also, oh, we didn't bring Gyarados. I thought we brought Gyarados for some reason. Armarouge is still perfect. Armarouge is perfect here. We just need to land one Armor Cannon or 2 Body Presses. No, well, not one Body Press. The Body Press is for sure not landing. Bronzong's dead here. We just need to land one Armor Cannon through this Blizzard. So yeah, let's go real quick Body Press. Bronzong's obviously going to go down. How much does Blizzard do to us? Okay, we can take a couple of those. And the Armor Cannon hits. That should finish it off. Perfect. Armarouge beats everything. Legendary Pokemon, Paradox Pokemon, other inferior size spam Pokemon. Armarouge is just my goat.